When the morals are nowhere to be seen and life is notoriously short, fun can be found in the most ungodly of ways.
It's true, my little bees.
I'm Adam Andrews.
And I'm Big Ched.
And today on Bumblebee, the two of us buffoons are breaking down the top 10 ancient games
we should never play. Number 10, Mesoamerican ball game. Aztecs, Mayans, and Inca. Oh my, the ball game of Mesoamerica. Today, a version of this game still exists. It's called Ulama. Not Alama, Ulama. Trust me, look at the spelling, it's there. Ulama. Which had its share of modern adaptations and rules over time, so it's changed. It's still played amongst the indigenous peoples of Mesoamerica today, though. The original game's rules aren't exactly clear. However, what is clear is the cultural impact of this favorite pastime. A flying rubber ball is the least of your worries, as we all know how bad those can hurt. Remember gym class? I know, those hurt. Well, if you know Mesoamerican civilizations, then you know how much they love sacrifice. They love it! So much so that it was tied to the sport. Losing a game? Well, that could very well cost you your life. I love the ball game just as much as the next beer drinking dad in the stands, but no one should lose their heart after losing a sporting event. If that were the case, the Toronto Maple Leafs, well, they just wouldn't be around, would they?
Number 9, Gladiatorial Combat. Do you think this wasn't gonna be here? Of course you did, because you guys are smart. You know who else is smart? Whoever it was that stopped Gladiatorial Combat. Only 1 in 5 or 1 in 10 gladiatorial fights ended up with combatants actually dying. But the whole thing started as a substitute for human sacrifice at funerals, so yeah, death and fatal injury was pretty common. Guys and gals who were criminals, who were enslaved, or who wanted to test their combative prowess took part in a bunch of different combative games as gladiators that would have them meet the afterlife at the pointy end of a piece of metal. It wasn't just people who met their ends in the arena either. 9,000 animals were slain during a 100-day ceremony to mark the opening of the Colosseum, for example. Look, we have combat sports nowadays 110%, but you aren't expected to die in pretty much any of them.
Number 8, fencing. I know this is a sport that we still do today, but think about it. You fighting with swords, sharp, pointy, pokey swords. Just waiting for a moment to pierce a private school trust fund athlete. It's a wealthy European sport. Not for a humble plaid-wearing Canadian. Surprisingly though, the most common injury is sprained ankles and foot injuries during practice. A lot of the sport is placement and footwork, so that makes sense. However, it's still a sword. And yes, bad things have happened, like in 1982, when Vladimir Smirnov during the World Championships had his foe's blade break and pierced his mask. And his eyes. And his brain. He didn't make it. The sports safety since has gotten much better, but still that makes me uneasy. I'm galled.
Number 7, Chariot Races. What could be more dangerous than being pulled by 2 to 6 horses around a giant track with hairpin turns in a light, easily breakable 2-wheeled cart at breakneck speeds against about 10 or 12 other dudes doing the exact same thing? Not a lot, but that's probably why it was so insanely entertaining to watch. Chariot racing was a huge sport back in the day, not just in gladiatorial games either. This was actually part of the ancient Olympics. Guess where the best place to sit during a chariot race was? If you were there for the life-taking potential of the sport like everyone else was, you'd want to sit on the turns where you'd get a good view of the tangled masses of horses, drivers, wood, and death when they crashed into each other. But don't worry, chariot drivers also whipped each other and threw each other out of their chariots, so there was violence for all to see.
Number 6, Hoplitodromos. What's worse than running a marathon completely stark nude in the heat of the Mediterranean sun? Running a marathon in a full set of military gear in the hot Mediterranean sun. Oh yes, that's right. Shield included too. Man, that would really slow you down, and the baby powder I would need for the chafing. Oh, at least I'd smell good though. Anyways, this sport may have actually had ulterior reasons for making chiseled oiled Greek men run around in full armor. It suggested that it was just as much as a military training operation or preparation as much as it was an Olympic event. To be fair, it makes sense. A Greek soldier would have to be quick in order to get past Persian arrows. Fast enough to dodge those set arrows? Probably not, but the ancient Greeks are smart, so if they're doing something for a good reason, then I trust them. That makes sense. That makes sense, right? Yeah, sure.
Number 5, Nguni stick fighting. I remember when I was a kid, me and my brother would fight each other with sticks in the backyard. He hit me in the pinky one time so hard that my nail fell off. I think, as revenge, I'm going to learn the martial art of Nguni stick fighting. and ask for a rematch. The Zulu people would essentially dual wield sticks or have a stick and a shield, and they would just go to town on one another. Now, honestly, this one ain't so bad. You ain't really seeing deaths here. The worst people get are massive scars that they wear as badges of honor. But when I flash back to the amount of damage I have sustained from ruthless stick-based attacks in my childhood, I'm gonna actively avoid that kind of situation going forward, I think.
Number 4, jousting. They say this is what made King Henry VIII go mad. He had a wee bit of a spill during a jousting match. And look, I'm not here to tell you what's good and what's not about contact sports. I'm a Canadian. Our national pastime is a sport that didn't have fighting in it at first, but after a bunch of Canadians had one too many rye, the proverbial gloves came off. When it comes to hockey, we'll feed you the right-left, bud. And while jerseying the dusty center on the home team might be dangerous, bud, jousting is literally a whole other sport, bud. Horses running at close to top speed, mounted on top, a knight in almost full armor, or sometimes full armor, with a long, dangerous pole. It's simple, just knock the other guy off of his horse without causing any serious life-threatening injuries. Easier said than done. Like I said, it might have done King Henry in. I talked to the chief. He was reffing a hockey game and said, "That's not it, bud."
Number 3, a fisherman's joust. You know what seems like a fun time? Hopping in your favorite boat with your best buds, going into the Nile River and beating each other with oars and long pointy sticks. What makes the ancient Egyptian water jousting even more fun would be when it would get pretty bloody, and blood in the waters of the Nile means crocodiles and hippos, both of which will de-life you faster than you can say Tutankhamun. The game, like lots of other blood sports, was played out in front of comfortable, rich overlords who would laugh and cheer as you were torn limb from limb by angry water creatures. Romans actually had something somewhat similar, where they'd fill a Colosseum with water and have naval battles against teams of captives who were sentenced to be de-lifed, and these were usually way more fatal than most other gladiatorial games.
Number 2, rooster throwing. There was another name for this sport which immediately caught my attention because I thought it was something totally different, and it's not what I thought it was, sadly. Well, basically for this one, you get a rooster. You tie it to a pole and you throw things at it until dinner is ready, because it'll probably be ready for dinner since you've thrown so many things at it. I don't have to tell you how cruel that is. This was a group event too, because if you weren't with a group, it would be kind of weird. Imagine walking down a secluded alleyway and there's a dude with a chicken tied up to a pole and he's just hitting it like Mike Tyson hits a punching bag. You'd back up real slow and far away from that situation. Personally, I'd recommend bowling, a sport that makes you look like you commit crimes, but not actually doing them.
Number 1, shin kicking. What the hell? Why? Why? Why was our idea of a fun old time to grab each other by the throat and ruthlessly kick each other in the shins until one of you hits the dirt? No, I don't like it. But then I find out they first did this heinous act of combative entertainment with steel-toed boots. They train by hitting themselves in the shins with hammers. Am I missing something about this? How is this fun? Please explain, someone. I feel like I'm getting mad at the fact this exists. You know what? It's even something that people still do. There's a damn World Shin Kicking Championship. Andrew, tag me out, man. I've had enough. I'm done. Come here. Thanks, pal. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for us today. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe here at Bumblebee.
And if you too want to join our bowling league, then check out our socials down below.
Down below. I've been your bowling champion host, Adam Andrews.
And I've been the host who spends too much time in the arcade, Big Chetty. Stay sweet, my little honeybees.
Bye!
Pee-pee poo-poo diarrhea. I got him. Okay, here we go. Man, we're funny sometimes, I tell you. Hi, Mom.
Well, that's gonna wrap it up for us today. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe here at Bumblebee.
You say that again like you're not trying to kill yourself?
Well,
that's it. Come on, man. What the hell was